And I'm noticing these connections, and these are just raising big red flags. And then there are many other in alternative media strange connections. And so, any thoughts on are if any that you specifically came across that just blew your mind? Because I think this is we can talk about Jordan Peterson, and the ARC project was just seems to be again, it's just the WEF sort of a rebranded version of World Economic Forum. And so, your thoughts on some of these strange connections?
Well, there's an obvious cross promotional network, and I think especially with the Tenet Media DOJ indictment, it gives people who are willing to look at it the opportunity to realize that there's no such thing as organic explosion into the media space. It is a controlled environment. We're talking about YouTube, which has the parent company Alphabet, which is without question an extension of the government. We're talking about Rumble, which is, whatever you want to think about the original founder. Over the last several years, there's been massive cash infusions from Donald Trump Jr., Peter Thiel, Vivek Ramaswamy, and a number of other people who are legitimate policy influencers that effectively control now what has become the default to YouTube. So you've got Eric Schmidt and Alphabet, Susan Wojcicki, and ultimately the deep state on YouTube. And then on the other hand, with Rumble, you've got Peter Thiel, Vivek Ramaswamy, Donald Trump Jr., and a number of other people who are the other side of the deep state coin in terms of influence and influence peddling. It is completely a controlled environment. I would be highly, highly suspect of anyone that has a long-term contract with either of these corporations, because that's what they are. They're multi-billion-dollar media corporations that are paying out tons of money to have specific people on to deliver specific narratives. The same goes with their advertisers and sponsors. The model that made every single one of us go, I'm turning my back on mainstream media. I'm never going to listen to these guys ever again, unless it's to make fun of them or to point out the glaring hypocrisies and contradictions and things that we generally tend to do, exists in what David Icke has called the mainstream alternative media, or Dr. Shiva calls the not so obvious establishment. There's an event coming up called Rescue or Restore the Republic or something like that, and it's literally every limited hangout influencer on Rumble that you could ever possibly imagine. And people are failing to recognize this, because what the viewing audience has been starved of forever until the last 8 years or so has been authenticity. And if you can be a handful of degrees more authentic than Don Lemon or Anderson Cooper or whatever, you're viewed as